Happy New Year's, my first video of back, and I just came back from New Orleans. Yes, I was there when, that happened, but it's okay. I'm safe. My girl's safe. We made it back. And because I love New Orleans so much, I decided to make a list of New Orleans-centric movies that I think you'll enjoy as much as I did. Now, remember, these are movies. They are not documentaries. So New Orleans, Louisiana, voodoo, all that kind of stuff is in there, but plays a backdrop to the actual movie that's going on. So I hope you enjoy. Let's go. Okay, first up is Black and Blue. This one stars Naomi Harris and Tyrese Gibson, and it's pretty intense. A rookie cop in New Orleans post-Katrina, and she accidentally catches some shady cops murdering a drug dealer on her body cam. Now, she's got everybody after her at this point, the corrupt cops, the criminals, everyone. She got to team up with the only person willing to help her. You can probably guess who that is, Tyrese. And honestly, I can't hype this one up enough. It keeps you on the edge the entire time. You're constantly asking, is she going to get out of this? And the tension feels very real, at least it did to me. Naomi's character is caught in this wild storm of danger, betrayal, especially as a black cop in a community that straight up sees her as a traitor. Even going so far as to call her a female Uncle Tom, which I don't know what the name of that, but I'm pretty sure there is an actual name for that already. Anyways, Tyrese, he surprisingly is not just a Fast and Furious actor. I know, right? He's branching out, kinda. The movie gives a raw look at how police are viewed in New Orleans, especially post-Katrina, and you can imagine it's already not easy for black cops in general when dealing with other black people, especially if they've had bad history with cops before. So this doesn't really go much better than you think, but it might go worse than you thought. You can rent it on Apple, and trust me, it's worth every penny. Next, we've got 12 Years a Slave. Man, this movie, directed by Steve McQueen. This one based on a real-life memoir of Solomon Northup, a free black man who was kidnapped and sold into slavery. The story is kind of bananas. Like, imagine being free and then bam, you're thrust into the horrors of plantation living. I want to bring this in. Maybe some of you didn't hear about this when Trump won. There was a series of text messages that were going out to black people saying how the bus was ready to pick them up to take them to the plantation in the morning. That's an effed up thing to do and send, even as a joke. But essentially, this guy, it kind of happened. He was free one day and then the next day he wasn't. Now, the cast is pretty stellar. We've got Chiwetel Ejiofor and Lupita Nyong'o. I think I'm saying those correctly. And some surprise cameos I won't spoil, but let me warn you, this movie does not hold back. It's gut-wrenching, emotional, and really drives home the brutality of that era. If you've got the stomach for it, it's worth a watch, trust me. But if you don't, be honest with yourself, don't put yourself through it. Also, fun fact, I visited a plantation on my New Orleans trip, and seeing this movie after that really hit differently. The contrast between the lavish big house and the cramped slave quarters was haunting. I also saw a Triple K mask. I don't know if I can say that on YouTube if it's gonna flag it, but I saw a Triple K mask, and man, that was unsettling. It was dirty, it was grimy, it said it was it represented the Triple K. Didn't say it was real or not real, but it felt pretty real, and it felt really scary looking at it like that in real life. So anyways, I digress. You can rent 12 Years a Slaves on YouTube. Just be ready for some emotional roller coaster action. Next up, something a little bit more fun. We got Bad Lieutenant, Port of Call, New Orleans. Whew. This movie is kind of wild. This is Nick Cage at peak Nick Cage'em. He plays a cop spiraling into madness. We're talking painkiller addictions, family drama, a prostitute girlfriend played by Eva Mendes, who looks fabulous. And oh yeah, there's a murder investigation happening somewhere in there. This movie is wild. You're watching it going, what even is this? What am I looking at? What are these iguanas doing here? Trust me, the iguanas, bro. You'll see the iguanas and you'll be like, what are these iguanas doing here? But somehow it all works. If you've ever seen Flight with Denzel Washington, it's kind of like that. He's also playing a drug addict guy who has a regular professional job. But it somehow got amped up. So if you've seen Flight, this is that, but amped up to 100. It's even crazier. And I thought Flight was already a pretty crazy movie to begin with. Cage's over-the-top acting actually fits perfectly with this character because his character is supposed to be kind of losing it. So it's very much well suited for him. A lot of people didn't like that. I think it's actually appropriate Nick Cage in this. If you're a Nick Cage fan, this is a gem. If not, well, brace yourself. I am a Nick Cage fan, so I can't lie. It's weird, it's dark, and it's a ride. You might need to get creative to find it, unfortunately. Maybe Amazon Prime, maybe, but it's worth the hunt if you can find it. All right, let's talk Deja Vu. This is a vintage Denzel Washington, and I love it. He plays an ATF agent brought into this top secret program that can literally see 4 days into the past. There's a ferry bombing that happens, a terrorist to catch, and even a chance to change time as we know it. It's part cop drama, part sci-fi, and all awesome. I forget how much I loved this movie until I watched the trailer again. It's a total blast from the past, pun intended. You can catch it on Disney+. For me, I'm definitely gonna rewatch this because I'm a sci-fi fan and a Denzel fan. And then this just reminded me how much I didn't realize I missed this movie. Okay, next up, The Princess and the Frog. Let's lighten it up a little bit with The Princess and the Frog, Disney's first black princess, Tiana, who is a hardworking queen who dreams of opening her own restaurant. But then froggy shenanigans ensue as she's magically turned into a frog because of her froggy to become a boyfriend thing. Anyways, you got it. It's a Disney movie. Magical shenanigans ensue and the magical adventure begins. There's some sing-songing going on. I'm not a huge fan of musicals, but I get over it for Disney stuff. This movie's adorable and it'll make you hungry. After visiting New Orleans, I get it. Gumbo, beignets. The entire time I'm watching this, I'm salivating. So yes, please. My girlfriend and I even tried making gumbo while watching this. Spoiler, she did all the work. I just chopped vegetables. But those are the best gosh damn vegetables you're ever gonna have in your life. So you're welcome. Me, I guess, because none of y'all gonna try it. But anyways, this is our first attempt at making New Orleans cuisine. I think the next thing I want to try and make are beignets. I really want to eat those. Those are so delicious. Anyways, it's a wholesome and fun and perfect for the family kind of movie. Every now and again, I like to watch movies like this. It cleanses the palate of all the gore, horror, violence, and drama I end up watching when I watch these movies. So this is a great palate cleanser. You can watch it on Disney Plus or rent it on YouTube. Next, we're looking at The Skeleton Key. Now, for something creepy, The Skeleton Key, Kate Hudson stars as a nurse working in a spooky old bayou mansion with a mysterious past. There's no ghosts, but there's plenty of voodoo vibes and it's eerie as hell. And honestly, there's some kind of ghost stuff too. So, but it's not super ghost crazy. So if you're not into ghosts, this still works. This one's different from my usual black-centric picks, but the voodoo culture, the southern gothic atmosphere, everything just gives you that NOLA vibe. It's not super scary, but it's unsettling enough to keep you hooked. You can rent this one on YouTube. The Pelican Brief, finally. Not a cop drama, but still full of investigations and conspiracies. Denzel Washington teams up with Julia Roberts as they uncover a wild political assassination plot. It's smart, intense, and keeps you guessing. Fair warning, it's more legal thriller than action thriller. Though maybe people might argue with that. There is a lot of action, but I feel like the action happens suddenly and ends suddenly, where the legal stuff is sort of the ongoing foundation. So if you're not into a lot of dialogue, it might not be your thing, but if you're up for a slower burn with some juicy twists, give it a shot. Pun intended with that one too, actually. Okay, so that's the end of my main list. I'm going to hit you with some quickie honorable mentions right now that I think are worth checking out if you haven't seen them already. So first up, we got American Horror Story Coven, the third season of the American Horror Story anthology series Coven. It's set in 2013 New Orleans and follows a coven of witches descended from Salem as they fight for survival. The show features flashbacks to the Salem witch trials, which is one of my favorite American Horror Story anthology seasons, especially if you're not into the super scary stuff that they do, before and after, but you want like a touch of the occult. It's a great pick in this way. After that, we've got Interview with the Vampire, the series. Now, this one jumps around different parts and areas, but at least the first season is set mostly in New Orleans. It's got the whole vampire mystique going on. This story is about two gay vampires. Yes, right? I don't know how else I could say it. Like, I guess I could say homosexual vampires, but you get what I'm trying to say here. If it's not your thing, skip it. But myself, as a straight heterosexual male, I can say it's a pretty good story, pretty good characters, pretty good acting. The series is compelling, even though the last season did seem like it was the end. It does look like they're making another season, so I guess we'll see what happens. Regardless, I still enjoyed it, and I think it's worth checking out. And last but certainly not least, we got Queen Sugar. I haven't actually seen Queen Sugar, but it's been highly recommended. It's 7 seasons long, so I haven't had the time to dive into it. From what I found online though, it tells the story of estranged siblings in Louisiana. At the center of the family are Nova, a journalist and activist, Charlie, the wife and manager of an NBA player, and Ralph, a formerly incarcerated father searching for redemption. Following the tragedy in their family, the siblings must come together to run their struggling sugarcane farm. The family's struggling sugarcane farm. It sounds a bit like Succession, or better yet, Blood Legacy, which is another fantastic Black-centric show. All right, that's all I got for you guys today. It's a bit longer than my normal picks, but there were just so many movies to pick from, I had to just kind of shove them all in there. Like, comment, subscribe, share. It is out. And until next time, which of these movies are you going to watch?